Next to me, Heinrich from Value Lab M&A. This is a gentleman that I met in the sauna in the gym. Okay, so very stressful environment. And I have never been one to promote people until I can figure out in my heart, this is a person that can go 8, 9, 10 layers deep on a topic. So as soon as I walked in, good physique, I'm like, hey, bro. He's like, how many minutes are you going to do here? So I'm going to try 15. He looked like he was already in for about 30 minutes. He was melting. He says, okay, I'll stay with you to make sure that you don't fail. I'm like, that's nice of you. I'm not going to disappoint you. Let's go. So chatting back and forth. What do you do? I'm a part of a team that goes into a business and we figure out where the leaks, the opportunities are, and is this business sellable, and how much can we get for this business, and how can we improve this business? I'm like, shit, like God sent. Thank you so much. And the first question that I ask him is the reason why he's here, because he gave me such a slick answer. And I feel that everybody in South Africa that's either busy building a company, thinking about opening a business, should hear this. And I immediately go. So he's obviously not a lot on social media, hasn't seen me in the past. And I say to him, I'm competing against a giant. And this company has got branches in every town. They've got financial backing. It's a listed company. But we have a brand and we've got eyeballs online organically. How can you quantify a brand? And can you put a number to that? Because, like, are we really going all in on something that is of value, or am I completely looking at this business world from a lens that I shouldn't be looking at? And I'm always testing myself against what's right and wrong. So everyone, Heinrich, he's an absolute stud. He's a rock star entrepreneur from a young age, and an absolute legend in the business world. And everybody should know who you are.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Bobby, very nice to be here. I think, really privileged. And thank you for that. Yeah, so I think from the question that you mentioned is, being busy with Value Lab, and we do a lot of valuations for companies and so forth. I think quantifying a brand is maybe one of the it's quite difficult to do. However, I think there's methods been positioned for that, and I think one of the big things is market. Your market, your value in the market is specifically how big is your position in the market is one of the main factors. But I think the different part to it is actually the people inside.
Yes.
The concept of brand is as a culture. A culture is positioned through the people, and it's basically stand by a logo. And that concept, if you put it together, it boils down how people function within your business, and that's only represented by a logo. And so the two factors would be is how big is your market cap within your in the industry and specifically in your location, and second of that is what is the people like, what is the people build out, and the culture within the brand, and that will sustain the momentum that the brand have. If it's a very short introduction to the market and the brand is not very old and not matured yet, it's very difficult to put value from the people's perspective on the culture of that business. But as soon as you position character within the brand and within the people, then there becomes a brand value that actually is bigger than the direct impact financially of that specific the brand, because of the financial outcome that forecast that you can actually position on the people that will drive the business.
Beautiful answer. Beautiful answer. Thank you so much. And just before we hit the record button, you mentioned there are 5 points that you want to unpack, which most businesses miss. And you know, one of them is obviously looking at the financials. And then I had to interrupt you. I said, yes, financials. When I speak to an accountant, for me, reading a financial is like reading a history book. An accountant is a historian writing the past and documenting it.
100%.
So what are the 5 points if we can jump straight into it?
We 100% we can jump. So if we do evaluation, obviously there's two factors to look at in business, and the one is the financial side, and literally this is that most accountants actually give you a valuation. It's a formulation, different levels. There's almost 140 different ways to position a company on a financial side that you can actually use methods to put a value on the company. But the second side, and I think that's where our structure differs a bit, is we quantify the financial side, and that's where the 5 pillars come in. We quantify the concept of scalability. What is the operations within the company and the levels that it's made out of? That's quite important to see if you an ice cream stand, how fast, if I duplicate the ice cream stand, are we twice the value? Or are there different parts that's behind the scenes? You will struggle with supply, struggle with actually positioning operations and scaling the business. So that's one from a scale perspective. Second is team. The concept of team is very important. If, for example, if some of your teammates very old and will actually proceed to pension, or as some of them very young and haven't seen the industry at a depth level and within the seasons where it's actually difficult, and do you have a spread that actually cultivate an area of expertise that shifts from young to old and old to young?
So like a duplication method. So a person comes in, how quickly can you duplicate a greenie and newbie into
100%.
into the so I've put massive amounts of effort into that, and it's easier said than done. That's very hard to do.
100%. I think, I don't know if you know about the concept of peaks.
No.
Peaks is a concept that they positioned on employee, and it's the 5 elements. It's basically an acronym that position what makes an effective employee. And I think it's actually useful for any employee to be aware of what is the stuff that you need to position to be an effective employee. So basically, BEAK stands for behavior, education, your attitude, your knowledge, and your skill. And if we focus on each of those elements, is your behavior is, are you on time? Are you positive? Are you at a point where you actually do what's necessary in the moment? I think it's a very important point for people. Education is what level academically as you positioned yourself to add value to the business and so forth. That's a point. Then attitude is, are you actually tantrum or actually positive reaction on situations?
That's a very important one.
Very important. I think sometimes very unquantifiable, but yes. I think someone that sometimes has a better attitude has much more value positioned to the team than actually knowledge and skills. That's yes. The last two is if your knowledge, what have your experience fall underneath that, and then obviously your skill. I think the big thing around that 5 elements is if none of us is perfect in any of them, but it's important to be aware that if you take one of those out completely, you're not effective as an employee.
Even one out, yes, agreed.
So you need to balance those elements and understand this. For some stuff that's in your control, for example, your attitude, your behavior, those elements should actually be positioned as a social skill that you just, on a consistent basis, make yourself a better person, as a better worker, a better employee, a better manager, a better business owner. So those whole processes is very important for us as we talk about team as one of the pillars, to make sure that this depth behind actually how deep is your company aware of their growth potential and also the role they play within the company. If that's not in line, it is quite sometimes where we position a bad score. Obviously, that's made of different score levels on the scalability of your team approach in itself, the idea of actually management and mid-management culture, collaboration, the value system, how the mission is actually positioning the cleaner itself. Would it filter through to that level? So it's very important to understand, even from a business perspective, as soon as you don't focus on that elements from an employee, you're actually at some level determining the growth potential of the business in itself.
Absolutely. I'm just thinking about a time when we just started the company, and I figured out that, okay, I need to duplicate myself within the sales team. So one branch, very few salespeople.
Yeah.
4. At a stage with 4 salespeople, we were outperforming companies that had 14, 15 salespeople. Okay, and one of the reasons was, and I'll never forget it, the top guy comes in the one day and he's looking at his shoes and he's dragging his feet. I'm like, I don't want that shit here around me. So let me do you a favor. Go home, sulk at home, so that you don't sulk around us, around the customers, and come back tomorrow. He's like, are you serious? I'm like, yeah. Go sulk at home. I can see you going through some stuff. Do you need my help? Is it personal things? Some things that I'm processing at home. Cool. Go and finish that. Come back tomorrow, bright-eyed, bushy-tailed. In front of everyone. Everyone's like, why did you do that? That shit right there looks like it's contagious. I don't want to catch what he has. So the next day he comes.
100% contagious.
He comes in. He's like, bright. You know what? Thanks for kicking my ass yesterday. And that's part of being the top guy. Accept ownership. Is like, you know what? I showed up. I'm supposed to lead the example here around the other salespeople. I'm the most senior, and I showed up sloppy. Thanks for pointing it out. I'll make sure that I keep myself in check. That person eventually became our branch manager and grew very well in the company and started his own business in the paving space. Yeah, but that was the one thing on attitude that just when you spoke, now it hit me.
Yeah, and I love that. I think from a leadership perspective, that is our role, is to understand how do we cultivate a space that is clear towards the same goal and the same outcome. I think that's sometimes the most important thing from a leader, is actually determine what do we accept as part of our culture and what do we reject as part of the culture. And unfortunately, I think it's there to family, throughout to your kids, downwards to being a grandparent. It's making sure you actually set the tone of what is culture and what is accepted in the space. And slowly but surely, unfortunately, we are so herd-like animals that would actually follow each other at some level. Someone is in front, and et cetera, and over time that becomes basically our whole community, our whole country, our whole ethos that we focus on. I think something like Rassie in South Africa has positioned the winning spirit as something that we do attach as a label in South Africa to ourselves. And that brings a different layer to how companies and how people run. And I think something that you just mentioned, I think part of South Africa, is a big part of it is actually that we do not accept mediocrity very easily. It's difficult to be mediocre in South Africa. You will be eaten up by either the market or your competition or somewhere. And somehow we should actually be proud of that concept, because in Sweden or in this perfect first world countries, we don't have that opportunity to push each other because everything is working, and we're actually socialistic, and we only give the money to the government for them to make sure that everything is nice and good. But no one in themselves actually have a very good impact in
Love that. What you just said is so important. The amount of opportunity here, because I heard something this morning.
Come on.
Capitalism is the ability to try, the ability to win, the ability to learn, and the ability to fail.
Yes, it's beautiful.
Beautiful, eh? So if you have the ability to fail, it will automatically go back to the ability to try again. And you're not trying from zero, you're trying with a loss and a bit of experience. And then a couple of tries later, some sort of success. In a first world country, I'm sure you've visited many. I've visited a few. In a first world country, everything works. So, take South Africa, for example. The reason why the taxi industry is so lucrative is because public transportation doesn't work. The reason why, you can point out at anything. The reason why solar companies are doing so well today, thriving, is because Eskom can't supply the demand on electricity. So, in a first world country, you say load shedding and they're like, what's that? And then you have to explain the concept. It's like, but why? Yeah. Well, because, no, we don't understand. Do you pay taxes? Yes, we do. So where's the money? Like, great fucking question. That's the
100%. Where's the money?
Great question. But I think that's where also the opportunity in South Africa lies. And I love the way that you position that, because we push each other, and because the guy across the street is trying to put me out of business and I'm trying to put him out of business. The person that actually wins is the guy buying a car.
100%. And that's the beautiful thing about this, is if you understand the economy in itself, it's like it's crazy to see actually where the need of something is what drives the concept of someone wanting a better car, etc., etc. And if that is understood, it's actually giving the people the potential to buy, and the supply and demand concept that drives everything that me and you own, everything that any business owner own, and to respect and honor that capitalistic approach is actually, I think, where freedom actually comes to the table. Anything else is actually at some form of way a bondage concept. And I think we should be very privileged in South Africa to have a way where the government and everything that's coming through is at a level actually putting pressure that brings and cultivates this diamond factor of capitalism and the private equity section that's very flourishing.
Beautiful. So I've got team. What is the third one?
Yes, 100%. So we've gone with scalability, team. The third one is market. So basically,
market.
Yes, what's the market like? Potentially, if there's a concept like Canon, for example, went from being an effective company to a non-existing company, just for the fact that is the market growing, is the market going down, is this a need that is potentially a bigger factor in the market. I think there's multiple stuff there. Is if you're new to the market or you have a new product in itself, you're dominating that world or not. But we measure that as one of the pillars. The forecasts, the concept of is there actually room for improvement in the segment? Is there a need? So that's market.
I want to add something to that. This morning. How was it positioned? I don't want to get it wrong. The time where the nerds are actually going to kick the jock's ass has arrived officially.
100%.
So check this out, right? The biggest sign-up bonuses and contracts in the sports world, like you think about Cristiano Ronaldo and LeBron James, basketball in the States, and what is the guy with the football? Tom Brady. Tom Brady
had a
big impact.
Come on.
If you think about the signing up bonuses, yesterday, Meta signed up not a 45-year-old, not a 35-year-old, a 24-year-old young man. $250 million as a sign-up, as a recruitment fee on a AI prompt engineer whiz kid that dropped out of college, and he's just working on amazing stuff at the age of 24. So speaking about market, like That's a market.
100%. I think the digital market has, if you're not yet understanding AI, me myself has quite invested now into a process of creating quite a few apps within the AI space.
For different markets.
But I think one of it's actually for people that wants to start a business. We create an AI that you basically get a business plan from an idea. So in that...
Don't downplay it. What you just said is very hard. So I come to you as a customer.
Yes, so the company's name is My Business Draft.
Yes.
And you can basically get... you put in a text and say, I want to create an earring. You can basically anything, but let's say put AI there. We say, I want to become an AI integration company that actually position AI onto businesses. And then it asks you a few questions, the AI in itself, in your industry, where you want to go, where you're located, how much money do you have, etc., etc. There's a whole process, and it actually adapts directly according to the industry and what the need is. It also gives you some suggestions of what it feels could be viable. And then after you've prompted in that sense, it actually provides you like a 64-page direct follow these steps with this outcome.
And what is the cost of that?
Literally, so there's a free structure that you can actually test it. And then if you want to have it with the statistics and actually the breakdowns in the 5-year plan, it's basically, I think, 200 Rand that you got. And then if you want to buy 5, I think it's 540.
We need to make sure that all these links are at the bottom of this video, and once we cut up the videos, we need to promote this. This is kick-ass. Well done.
Thank you so much. So that's and I think from a perspective that's one approach to AI. You mentioned AI. I think that's one thing I've invested in with that app. But there's so many stuff that's coming. So from our business in that. Literally anything that someone can think, we can create an AI for, and we're positioning the whole sphere of the agents and managing around it. So it's actually amazing where this is going in itself. Yeah.
May I challenge you?
Please.
Okay, cool. So
please. Yeah,
the biggest
I love challenges.
role player in our industry is We Buy Cars in terms of buying. They have created an AI model that without any human intervention, they have purchased in the last, I think, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. This is news to us all that just came out. And they're market leaders. I'm a big fan. So this, what we're just speaking about, they are actually adopting this in our industry right now today. They've bought 2,854, whatever the number is. It's almost 3,000 cars with zero human intervention, which means pictures come in, analyzes the market, analyzes data, what the vehicle of similar mileage, year model, etc., have sold in the past, and then predicts a selling price, how long it will take to sell, and makes an offer. No human intervention. Now they've got a buying team, hundreds of people. Number one, they are gone. Bye-bye. Okay. So, but are they?
So the big thing is, and it's a very good question. Unfortunately, I do think
most of them are gone.
Most of them are gone. It's like the post office guy that went and cycling and positioning at every door.
Yes,
the guys who post the mail.
And now you've got email.
Now you have email. So it's
spam. Mostly spam.
100%. And I think and most people don't understand that. Obviously, there will be new markets and new spaces that people can.
So that's my question to you. Yes.
So, but unfortunately,
most of them are gone.
If you don't understand that, you will need to pivot and you will need to shift and you need to adapt, and also almost from a positive level be open to this technology, like the internet, like fax went to email, like etc. etc. If that is your approach, I think this is the most exciting time for human beings in ever, because what you will. There's actually studies done that shows that people are getting smarter through AI because knowledge and language are connecting on a piece of paper. From one small question, you get now a very dictionary type writing on what actually to explain and understand that topic. So from a Google that you're trying to figure out what etc. is everyone's opinion around it, now it becomes actually a knowledge base that directly answer your questions and actually directly solve the problem. And in that sense, it's a massive opportunity for anyone that has a business to just unleash themselves and the knowledge onto this LM models, and I'm actually very excited in that sense, because we have created, not only created, but I've seen how that space can create a lot of value in any industry.
And my challenge is coming.
Come on, I'm trying to. Okay. So I've got this challenge. Let's go.
Here it comes. So we are also actively thinking about how do we use AI to our advantage. By the way, me and another colleague in the industry that also run almost like a bi-weekly podcast, after doing a lot of research, it is confirmed that AI using ChatGPT 4.0, the latest version, effectively increases your IQ by 20 points.
I'm 100% sure about it.
20 minimum, 20 points. If you and there's layers onto that. I'll send you that episode. Please. Maybe you'll get some value out of it, or maybe ours is like kick-ass smart, and she can put the link on top of my head.
I love it. I love it.
So that you can go watch it later. But here's my challenge. All right. So I'm thinking about brand becoming a household name, becoming recognizable in the industry, becoming a person to go and at least give an opportunity when selling your car. All right. So everybody goes AI. I go, so everybody's tractor. I go horse and that thing that the horse pulls. While I'm running as fast as them on that side, I'm also dividing my time on this side, because here's where I feel the opportunity will also be. Cool. You're getting an offer from a computer. It spits out an offer instantly, and it sequences the messages, and it looks all cool and slick. And then you're getting a call from me. Like, what's up? Nice BMW. How long have you owned it? Well, I've owned it for this long. I'm like, shit, those are kick-ass wheels. Has your wife driven the car? He says Bobby twice. So I know 2 rims are scratched. So because that's the lingo with my community.
Come on.
Okay, cool. Is it a boy? Yes, it's got a tow bar. It's a boy. I feel that if you are good at, and this is one thing that AI will never beat me at. It will beat me at almost everything else. It doesn't. I'm so superior to AI when I tell you this, that I still feel that, as much as we can embrace the AI and move with the times and deploy it in as many departments, becoming good at relationship building
100%
will still make you, or it will still put you in a place where you are still relevant for forever and a day.
100%. I think even on top of that, you use the word still, I would say, that authenticity will be enhanced at such a level that
using AI.
100%. The crave of actually human intervention will just go through the roof. I think you are not an effective business man or projective business person if you position AI as a full circle
love that
outcome for your business. You will never, it will take a big part at the administration side, the concept of actually data management and communication and making sure the progress is actually understood and communicated. But if it comes to actually making decisions, the concept of trust has been with us forever.
Yeah.
And you will never get out of the word trust. We like people that is people, and
yes.
And even now, just with being in the first phase and first quarter, almost I can say for AI in itself and actually integration to businesses, it's been already the most frustrating part. If an AI phones me or there's a bot that tries to help me, or we'll put you through, and then there's actually they just press the button for an AI to communicate further. That is something that will be resent. And I think from a business owner yourself, it's very smart to understand that it's not the end all solution AI in itself. It will make us faster, but it will make us also more skeptical. And in that process, you will not be able to determine value and fake on a very, black and white type of concept. And in that gray space, people will fight to see people and like and touch and feel and be authentic around it. And I think that's very spot on from your side, is to say the human aspect will just go through the roof.
Absolutely. I think about it as, I'm wired as a warrior, man. I just want to kill everybody, take over the world, kill everybody, not in an ugly way, like take on the market. What are the market's problems? So I see myself as, this warrior running up against all the problems. But what AI will allow me to do is just have a bigger sword than everyone else.
Come on. And I think everyone should see it that way, because your enemy will also grow a bigger sword over time. So you need to equip yourself in this space, because this is the fourth, the fifth, the sixth generation industrial revolution that we will go through. It's basically technology that will drive a lot of our nitty-gritty needs. However, I would also say that there's so many innovation that's coming. People don't understand new markets that will never been even imagined, that will just 100%. Be exposed and so forth. So I think from a differentiation point of view, you will just spend your money and time on more options in this sense than actually being, some parts of it actually taken away by AI. And I think, fortunately, is there's also a point where all supply, like we mentioned, and demand is driven by people's need.
Yes.
So if need is not directly managed and in balance, AI will also be just a link on a website, and no one will use it, and it will die on itself. So you need to manage the concept of need versus effective operations to actually produce a sale and make a business work.
Beautiful. Love it. Love it. What's the fourth one?
Wow, we get back. So we set to scalability team, market. Then the other one is actually compatibility. So the big part of it around that is actually if there's any concept of transition, if we position it's very important if you position a sale. It's a supply and demand concept. So let's say, for example, if we evaluate a business for a will, it's easy in the sense that basically this guy, the business owner, wants to position a value that is that's given over to either their children or someone that, and so there's a value that goes into the will. But unfortunately, if that positioning is not, if he's the main key driver of the business, obviously the valuation will drop when he leaves the business. So it's important to understand that compatibility is a big part of actually who's buying the business, and that's a big component if it comes to a fund or an investor or someone that's buying into the business. Is that actually the business compatible to whatever the buyer's needs are? And it's a big role player on valuation, is because unfortunately you can get a nice number, but if it transitions through a phase of even being absorbed into a bigger company, or there's a concept of it needs to be without the key individual and so forth, what's the value transition there? And that part, we position a compatibility aspect to it, on how does the supply and the demand meet each other.
Thinking about like running a relay, you've got the first guy that runs a sub 10 second 100 meters, and the second person actually doesn't enjoy running. He's a shot put athlete and he's 120 kilos and he runs a 20 second 100 meters. So I'm passing the baton to somebody that's not really interested in running.
100%. And it's crazy how...
That's mostly from parent to child, right? Am I right to say so?
100%. And I think
I've seen that myself.
And you know, Bobby, I think you're in a very privileged position in the sense of understanding this upfront. So some of the people that comes to us is 70, 75 years old. They've run their business for 30 years. They have this massive, amazing structure. But unfortunately, they're still the guy pressing the button at the end of the month, paying the people. And it's like, okay, wow, we've created this millions of drugs, but you've never thought about unfortunately, age is something we all wish we didn't have to battle in life. But the reality is, if it comes to a business, it's literally like a baby. I think the analogy like a baby is a very proper way to actually position a business in itself. But there's a mature level where you actually need to give over the baton faster. And I think even with AI and those stuff, it's actually... that process getting shorter and shorter because of the fact that new age thinking and positioning and leadership will actually have a big impact in how his business will grow in the future. But on that note, I think you mentioned now that giving it out over to children sometimes is a sad point for us. Very. Because you have this massive structure and there's no one standing in line. And this guy asking for a valuation of his business, and he's the key pin. And I'm like, friend, from a compatibility perspective, you are the key pin here. If I take you out and I take your 5 advisors below you, that's all 65 plus. We're at a level where we're sending walls and logos to someone that you can't even put a name to. So it's
sad.
It's very sad. So I think that's one thing. I think valuations and Value Lab itself brings a lot of value into the world, that acquisitions should be not the thing that you predetermine, focus on when the day comes. You should be evaluating your business on a consistent basis and positioning value as almost a driver and a goal and as an exit strategy from day one. I think most business concepts say that, but being practical around it is, if I ask anyone now, if you're a business owner and you don't know the value of your business on paper by an independent person, I'm sure you actually have goals that's not realistic and not positioned
100%,
because there's no one actually positioning a value to it.
I'll share personal experience. I've never spoken about this. No one knows this.
Come on.
Maybe three people know this. Someone has tried to buy us 3 times.
Yeah.
Our brand, our company. First time was at a very unique stage of our business. We were experiencing, growth like this.
Come on.
Like this. Literally full throttle. We are doubling every quarter.
Was that yesterday?
No. From your mouth to God's ears that it's tomorrow. So like this person reaches out, he's got 50 plus businesses, multi-billionaire, very accessible, very nice. Has a reputation, but very nice. He's built. If you have 52 successful businesses,
impressive.
You know what you're doing.
100% so.
Come in, he's controlling the conversation, speaks very slow. There's actually an Andrew Tate video that I watched a couple of days ago, and he says when you speak to a billionaire, he's always talking slow, and he's controlling because he wants to fight you at his pace.
Yeah.
So I'm like, fuck, yes, that's what he did. He put me in the office. I shit you not.
100%. Yeah.
That office, the carpet is so thick, I can't see my shoes, homie. I'm like, how much is this fucking carpet here?
Come on.
Your feet sink into the carpet. I'm like, all right.
Come on.
Like, is there a plastic bag? Am I going to get killed today?
Should I leave my shoes outside?
In the middle of Saturday, I'm like, holy shit, I need to send my mom a message. Love you, mom. Not that bad, but very nice meeting. Here's what he says to me. He says to me, Pops, congrats. You're a young guy. You're very aggressive. Love your energy. You've got fire in your eyes. I want to buy your company. I'm like, shoot. I'm like, okay. I don't want to sell my company, but I'm here. It's quite a cool. It's like a feather in my hat that you've seen It's a family business that we've built out and we're scaling it and everybody's giving lots of input and it's going well at the moment. We're pushing hard. He says, your problem is one. Like, okay. So he sort of like compliments me and then he starts beating the fuck out of me.
They all do. Yeah.
So is that a normal thing?
It's a normal billionaire problem.
Billionaire problem. Okay. He says, the problem is the business is actually you. If you have a car accident on the way home, then what am I really buying?
Come on.
A bit of stock, a few buildings, like nothing special about your business. I'm like, holy shit, like 3 minutes ago you were like, I'm a fan and now you like kicking me while I'm down. And I'm all sad and shit. I'm looking at my shoes and I'm like, I understand, sir. Thank you, sir. Thanks for noting that. And then I leave. He phones me back. He says, so can we meet up for a number? I said, no, I don't want to speak to you again. Straight like that. He says, no one says no to me. I said, I'm saying no to you. You beat the fuck out of me for 2 hours, make me drink your Fiji water here at 70 Rand a bottle to like really demotivate me. I felt horrible after I left for a couple of days. A few months later, he reaches out again. He says, come, let's chat. Now, I'm not coming to that office where my shoes disappear in a mat. Meet him at a coffee shop, very nice again. So he saw that he actually made me very angry when he beat me. So he's obviously very smart. So only polished me the second time. And then I said, let me think about it. Can we go out for supper? Can I meet your wife? Do you want to meet my wife? We can go out for supper, see if there's a synergy. I said, nah, I'm on a bit of a diet, I want to lose some weight, and then left it. The third time he spoke to me, he said, all right, I'm going to be a mixture between the first and the second meeting. Are you ready? I said, I'm ready. Now it's a couple of years later, gray hair. So I've received a few scars in the meantime. And this is what he said to me on what you just delivered. He said, you've got some systems, you've got some predictive analytics when it comes to pricing. I showed him some stuff. I said, look, I am still the face of the company. I am still the person that everybody associates the company with, but I've slowly but surely started to create kings and queens within the company. And on what you just said, how old, how long, and how involved. So how old is the team that is surrounding me? Very young, my age and younger. How long have they been with me? More than 5 years for me. In our industry is good. Some of them are 10, some 9, some 8, some 7. And how involved. So that's the part where I am now. How do I exit myself so that they can completely run those departments with zero input from me? How do I do that? How do I do that? And that's hard. And on the last point, someone that I've been fortunate enough to speak to and has mentored me for multiple years. He sold his business with 60,000 salespeople.
Yes, that's amazing.
In the States. So 3 years ago, or 3 years before he sold it, his business was evaluated at $100 million.
Yeah.
3 years later, his business wasn't doing more than double the sales. It was probably 25% more sales. But he completely exited himself in the day-to-day of the business. He sold his company for $250 million.
Crazy.
Just because he was able to literally remove himself. He's still pushing the brand and promoting, but the operational side of things is no longer him.
And I think on that point, Bobby, I think people will be quite amazed how that mindset changed the way they operate. Unfortunately, if you've been 10 years in the business, you're so entrenched in it.
Bottleneck.
It's your baby. It's
bottleneck.
You're looking how it plays netball, and yes, it's now getting smarter and longer, and you are emotional involved in that concept. The unfortunate truth is you're not really the guy that's adding the most value, although you're the guy at the head of the table. And I think that concept is actually a beautiful opportunity for any business owner.
Yeah.
If you understand where your 150 line items are at on a very independent structure, and you driving value as the main objective, then you will actually, through that process, understand exactly what to move and shift. And normally it's you yourself, but
your own biggest enemy, always.
Unfortunately. And I think that's also the beautiful part of it, because it boils down to pride as well.
Ego,
the concept of, are you authentic? Do you understand what culture is made of? Do you really understand service as a leadership principle? If that is the concept in that whole flow, it's tested when you need to sell your business, or understand that to transition it to someone else is maybe the smartest move that you can do.
So on the third meeting, said, all right, make me an offer for the business.
Yeah.
So how much stock do you have? This is the stock. Do you have a floor plan? Yes, we do. This is the floor plan. How many buildings do you own? This is the buildings that we own. How many members on the CC or on the paperwork? It's me and my mom. This is the split. My dad's also in the business. I've got a sister. This is the split. This is it. He said, okay, cool. All right. On the spot. He says, your business is worth so much. So it's slightly over what, but like a single digit percentage. And not even like a 9% over what the total stock value and the buildings is. I'm like, that's a shitty offer. He says, yes, you've created a job for yourself where you get paid, incentivized fairly well, but you have to work the hardest and you have to drive the hardest and push the hardest. That's why your business is not worth multiple of 10 or 12 or 15 or 18. I'm like, that's like such valuable advice. That's why I resonate to you so much, because I've thought about this concept for many, many years. So how do I change that? Lots of work to be done. And
but I think if you know the problem, you're 90% busy solving it. The biggest people need to understand it, and I think on top of it actually is understanding what is the main goal here. The main goal is to empower people and to drive outcomes that impacts the world around us. If that's not the main outcome that you're producing, unfortunately, your business is just a logo and people making money out of other people's needs. But there's so much more, and that's a beautiful part of the modern business structures, that we've encumbered almost the concept of community and of need, and at such deep levels that I'm so privileged to be at my age within business doing so many stuff.
How old are you?
I'm 32.
32.
Come on. It's just, it's
still a baby, man.
A lack of sleep that looks like I'm older.
Lack of sleep. Awesome. What's the fourth one?
So that was the fourth one.
The fifth one, sorry.
The fifth one is basically is the financial side around it and how it's managed. I think there's a big part of you get the normal look at finance, but there's also stuff like how you manage suppliers, how you equity structures based on your liabilities. There's so many levels that goes into it. So you get your normal financials. This is our revenue and multiply it, run. But how actually the effins part of the financial side to it, it's quite in depth. You go, there's a crazy amount of talk we can position on. What is the last biggest sale? If I take your biggest losses and your biggest lows out of your equation, what are you left with? That type of work to actually position, if a sales process is seasonal based, is it because a different competitor at a bad space or moved out of the market? Are you what's your financial situation made out of? And that then gives us a good idea of how would you function in the future if you've gone through rocky starts. How did you recover? It's actually a good thing in a business, showing the resilience around it. And actually,
is that a good thing?
It is sometimes it's literally like a baby growing through phases. It's sometimes fell down and stand up. it's
I'm gonna score
amazing.
very high there in the last 2 years because I've been through some shit, my friend.
And look at you, you're sitting here like a monster. So no, I think from our perspective, seeing a lot of these companies, it is sometimes the biggest thing for a family business in itself to actually go through hard times. Because if you hit a market, there's a comfort space that some of the businesses just falls into, and they have this big order and this big supplier contract, and they just supply, etc., etc. But from a growth point of view, I won't say 100%, but let's say 90% of it, it actually put a hamper and a handbrake on the potential growth because of the fact that this is how we do it, and we buy our new cars every 3 years, and we go through the motions. Yeah,
it's almost like you've never been battle tested. You think that?
Come on.
I thought that I was battle ready until the battle came. Then I'm like, you know, some mornings or some evenings I'm like, listen, man, if I don't wake up tomorrow, it's also okay.
Yeah,
you know, that bad.
And I think myself, I can honestly say, being in a different space of building businesses in the last few months, I think there's I'm quite a crazy amount of ideas, and I would love to get them on the road and get investors to get to that side of my impact that I also want to leave. But on top of that is saying some days it is shit. You don't want it. It's just like as bad as it can get.
Low.
And the nice thing about it is to understand that I don't know if you run or you have done crazy events and stuff.
No, I don't do that. The 15-minute in that environment where we met, that's for me pretty intense.
I must say that I would love to challenge everyone at some level. You need to manage your own personal downs and ups, and sometimes you need to be fabricated in a sense of actually getting yourself to a point where breaking point is
close,
very, very close. And I think in that moment you will find such depth. I've done quite crazy, stupid stuff for that reason, just because of the fact that to push yourself is actually the biggest opportunity to fabricate almost a near-death experience type of world, and to see how you can boil the body or the mind is something that is, I think, a privilege, because some people don't have that choice. They live in that circumstances, and other people actually have the mindset to understand, I want the best out of life, and to get the best out of life, I need to
the worst.
Need to take the worst. Yeah.
Beautiful. Wow, that was very, very beautiful.
Come on.
Very beautiful.
Yeah.
I'll go a little bit off topic. The thing that woke me up the next morning, that night when I had that thought, you know, yes, man, like, how am I failing everyone? How am I failing, you know, the people I love the most, failing them the most? Like, you always have that self-doubt and you know, you don't, and when you're leading, the biggest thing is when you're leading, you have all the information. The people around you are like, what's wrong? So if I have to explain to you what's wrong, it will literally take me 3 hours to give you the context of what's wrong. Once I give you the context, all I'm going to do is depress you. So I'm gonna achieve nothing else. So what's wrong? You know, I'm okay. I'm working it out. And because it's lonely, because you can't really give context to everybody all the time, you have to absorb. So I heard a beautiful thing by Gary V. He says, for him, very successful marketing agency, probably one of the, if not the biggest, best in the world, Gary Vaynerchuk.
Yes.
Russian Jew.
Come on.
Yeah, very interesting character. And he says, to him, a sign of a good leader, because he's got a multinational business. So what's cool is, he says, when I wake up, I get to see shit that broke in countries that were awake while I was asleep. How is that? So, and only the bad shit goes to his phone. The good stuff, the people take credit of and like salute, well done. But when I wake up, I know while I was sleeping, something in Taiwan broke and this guy resigned and that guy. But he says, if a leader can absorb a 10 out of 10 pressure situation and only deliver to his team that pressure at a 3 or a 4, it's bearable. But if you, and for the longest time, I get it at a 10, you getting it at a 10. In 10 minutes, I'm like, hot potato.
100%.
When now, I'll grab the potato, it will burn my hands, I'll go, until it doesn't burn, and I'll be like, it's kind of hot.
This is a problem.
It's kind of hot, but you'll manage it and be like, ooh, this bar warm. Did it burn you? No. Okay, cool. I passed the pressure at the right level. And that shit is hard.
Yeah.
That shit is hard. But
and I think and I think the business in itself, I'm telling you, if you're a business owner, you are a legend in itself. To take on a business and to understand that the reason why 80-20 principle doesn't work is not because business is impossible, or it is because you need to drive yourself past the times where a hot potato will fall in your lap. And then you need to understand as the business owners, you need to absorb that, like you mentioned, and be at a level where you can trust the next person with it. So that's I appreciate the fact that you're bringing up business in it, because it is part of every business owner's life, is basically managing it. And I think the big thing I would say is, like, you're not alone. I think there's so many guys like yourself and myself that would love to actually add value in that space as well.
Taking that concept and teaching it, I went from having 6 branch managers to 2.
Okay.
Like, exploded profitability from 6 to 2. We are actually extremely good at retention in the sales environment. People don't leave us. Have you noticed that, Els, in the last couple of months? Since Jan. People don't leave us. People stick. Sometimes we have to manage people out of our company. It's sales. It's competitive. But the moment that he said that to me, and I said, I need to deploy this, and I need to teach these 2 boys this. A customer will phone me and rev me. Do you know what valve bounds is? The olden cars where it goes like that. We've got rev limiters in the new cars. And keep me there for like 3 minutes. I'm like, holy shit. Like, can planet Earth open so I can jump in, swallow me, and like never spit me out? I want to, customers, after that we became friends. He says to me, Afrikaans uncle, he says to me, Bobby, ek gaan net die fucking FJ vat en hom in jou hol druk. I'm like, oom, jy kan nie. He says, hoekom nie? I said, because there's a Hilux there. You're like 10 minutes late for this event. Another uncle phoned me earlier. He drugged a Hilux in my hole because we scratched his car while it was being serviced here. So my hole now. So he laughs. He says, fuck. So I thought,
it happens. It happens.
I said, die touw steek uit.
It is still a boy.
He laughed. He says to me, what's here? Okay. How are you going to help me? Well, all right. May I speak? Yeah, then you read me more. Okay. May I speak now? Yes. Okay. I accept full responsibility. We effed up. We scratched your car. I can't go back in time and unscratch your car. It's scratched. Here's what I'll do. I'm going to give you a car. You're going to have a similar car to use. Our panel beaters, lifetime warranty, etc., etc. It's OEM approved, all this other stuff, fix it. Plus, I'm going to full tank fuel, whatever. Make it up to, are you happy? I'm happy.
Yeah.
Okay, cool, no problem. But I go back and I say to the managers, I am allowed to give you from a 10 to a 7. I'll never give you a 10, because if I give you a 10, it's not fair. Because how am I leading this company if all I'm doing is taking the pressure?
Very good.
But just know that sometimes I'll pass you a hot potato that will give you blisters, boykie. You ready? Yes, I'm ready. Okay. Here's a hot potato. It's nog warm. I can't keep this because I've got other 3 here in my hand and I'm scared I drop one. And the moment we started doing that and conceptualizing that, then the salesperson, if a salesperson screws up, I'm not giving him a 7. I'm giving his manager a 7. He needs to give him a 5 or a 6 or a 4, depending on the situation. But that's how we were able to go from 6 to 2. Who can handle the 7 out of 10 hot potato? And if you can't, no problem. Move on.
And that's why you got 2 now.
Yeah. The two that I have now, they can probably handle a 10 as well. Sometimes they have for me in my absence. When we're doing this, my phone's exploding. The WhatsApps are like millions. I've diverted my phone to someone. So for a temporary moment in time, they have to handle a 10. But when I'm back online, they'll never handle a 10.
Come on. Yeah, well, I think that's good leadership. I think that's why you have built this process. I think when I walked in here, I was very, I started at the whole back there and I walked through the whole, everyone there. And I can see the value of leadership, in the company itself. You can feel people.
This is actually our smallest branch.
Well, I'm quite impressed with the fact that it is well done with your business that you've built here. Yeah.
If I could have it my way, I would have one branch though. If I could have it my way, I wouldn't have multiple locations. I'd rather have a bigger location because culture and I think its proximity is very important, and I have to inject and inflict the I want to use the correct word. I have to inject and control the energy of the company all the time, and it's difficult with multiple locations. No, it's very hard.
100%, and I completely respect that. And in your industry, it is very difficult to scale effectively. And I think it's smart also to withhold scaling up at such level to have a great brand like yourself. I think also to position that is to map that out and actually get the way of how we're going to position different stages of this business to get it to the next level. Obviously, we want to go international and go wherever there's a need. And I think with the industry that you are and the brand that's behind you, there's so much levels that can still be unlocked. I
wish I met you 20 years ago. That's my only regret. But 20 years ago, you were 12.
100%. and most of my team weren't existing.
So I wish I met you like 5 years ago. Yeah. No, I made so many mistakes. So your last sentence, I'm like, holy shit. Like if you knew, brother, scaling has been so hard for me. And it's just purely because I only know what I know, and I learned through having a very thick forehead, running into walls and stuff. But I know now after I've met you, I don't need to run into every wall.
And I think obviously we don't have all the answers, but what we do put in perspective is actually how you measure up against other people. And in that moment, you can actually make good decisions. I think sometimes that's the biggest difficult point in a business owner's life.
So I'm not a weirdo to look at everyone that way. Because I look at everyone that way.
In what sense?
So I'll tell you now. 40-year-old business across the street from us. The old man who was very dear to me passed away a couple of months ago. His son, I've got the world of respect for him, but his son calls me, says to me, I need to have tea with you. I said, cool. Kind of a coffee guy, but I'll have a tea with you, no problem. Comes in, we make tea. He says, when will I beat you? So I look at him. I'm like, okay. You came here, all right, with a Ferrari. Okay. You're quite a bit overweight. All right. So I know stamina, energy, I'll like destroy you. Okay, cool. Let me ask you this. What time did you come to work? He says 9. I said, okay. What time are you going home? He says, no. He says 4. I'm like, all right. Are you ready for my answer? He says, yes. I said, never. You'll never beat me. Why? I said, no. You can have 1 million people behind you working for you. I will always outwork you. Like I'm here first and I leave last, and I've been doing it for 20 years, so you'll never beat me. So measuring up against someone is not arrogant. I always thought it's arrogant. That's why I don't speak about it.
Yeah. The big thing is unfortunately, everything boils down to outcome. There's three main elements that put up, well, I can just say effort, time, and creativity is made up on a piece of paper that we call money. And
effort, time, and creativity is made up on a piece of paper we call money.
Yeah.
Holy shit. If we had Els, I want a buzzer. Give me a buzzer, Els.
Yes.
Els, where's the buzzer?
Oh, look at you.
Do we have a buzzer?
Oh, wow. Here we are now. Come on.
Effort, time, and creativity is measured on something printed that is called money.
Yeah, on paper. Come on.
I think you need to.
Well, I'll push it. Thank you.
Holy shit.
Here we go. So that concept unfortunately plays out to reality. You can't fabricate that. You could do anything in your life, but if you don't understand that, unfortunately, outcome will be your true measure, and your true, your judgment will lie in your outcome. And if you can tell that guy that, or you can stay quiet. Unfortunately, he'll be judged by reality and by the outcome, and that will be, he will never beat you. So that's it.
That's freaking awesome. Okay, so how do people best get in touch with you? So we've got an audience that is from 16-year-old boys that like BMWs and Uncle Bobby merch, and all the way up to our oldest follower that we bought a car from last week is a lady that was born in 1927. She's an Uncle Bobby super fan. She reached out. She says, my son said I can't drive the car anymore. I don't agree with him. Like, Tani, how old are you? She says, I'm 98.
Oh, wow.
97. I'm
amazing.
Like, he could have given you at least another 15, 20 years. Come on, man. What's wrong with you? Well, Bobby, I want to sell the car. So I speak to the uncle. He sounds older than her. He's like near Bob's now. I'm like, well, you shouldn't be driving. I don't know what's wrong.
We'll trade it in now.
So, and lots of entrepreneurs, we run mentorship programs. We've done, where's our masterclass book? We've done a masterclass where we train dealerships, anti-fraud, lead gen, social media, F&I, finance and insurance. We've won finance and insurance deal of the year 3 times, back to back, in mega division against the giants in the industry. So we've got a very diverse audience. How do people reach out to you? Do you consult? Do you go and show people leaks in their business? What are the services that you offer? So,
well, there's quite a few, but let's start with Value Lab. valuelab.co.za is basically our valuation company. M&A, do all pre-acquisition positions. Anyone that needs a valuation for their company, we consult you to a level where we provide you a CA certificate of what your valuation is with your quantification, and that business valuation you can position at multiple levels, from getting finance through to actually positioning
a sale.
We can facilitate positioning towards funds. We do have quite a network of different funds that we can position your business to if you want to get expansion capital, or you're at a different level. That is one, but mainly get the valuation first. I would, for your own sanity, and also for your will. I think a big part of companies needs to understand that if you few directors within your company and you need one, it's a bust tomorrow at some level, or there's a divorce, or there's any form of transition that happens within that, and you don't have a fair value on your company, you normally get to an outcome where there's either a very big fight, unfortunately, or there's a point where there's someone who's losing on the valuation, and to get that from an independent structure is very important. Then that's valuelab.co.za. Then we have Tim. Tim is a company we didn't speak about, but that's culture driven. So it says this is marketing. It's timagency.co.za. So basically, where we drive brand and culture and making sure that your brand has value behind itself, and how do you put pillars into position marketing as an outcome. So that's strategy-wise, consulting on business marketing strategies and culture. And then collab.co.za is branding, any form of branding, from a gazebo to a vehicle branding towards signage, clothing, sublimation.
I've got a customer for you. She's right there.
Come on, Elsie, we'll talk afterwards. I'll send you the people. So yeah, that's our big new baby, and we're going to grow that company to be a franchise countrywide. And and then it's just the apps that people can. Procreative.co.za is the company that manage all the AI integration. So if any company needs to have AI to function and to grow their businesses at a level, we can, from a bespoke point of view, literally create you an AI environment. And that team is literally very impressive, actually. I'm thinking of that 24-year-old that's going to Meta. Amazing to see how these guys are smart and young and impressive and doing an unthinkable. And also that's procreative.co.za. And then our last one I would say is the AI app. That's my business draft .ai. That is basically a platform where you can get, if you want to start a business and you need a business plan to either pitch to someone to get some form of funding, or yourself just to have a guideline to where you go, the AI will prompt you at a point, and it will position you as, I think, a 47 section business plan that you can print and use and go crazy with and edit wherever needed. And I think it's very important for everyone at any stage in their life to have maybe the idea of starting a business. I'm a very entrepreneurial,
I can feel it.
Go entrepreneurial, type of guy.
Absolutely.
So yeah, and then the last thing I would say for everyone, I think somewhere in business in itself is to just be part of a community. I think to be part of your local community, be part of follow Bobby, make sure that you're part of business in itself, get podcasts as a part of your daily routine, and
be a part of a community where you are not the leading person, where you are so far behind. We trained the Auto Trader newbies yesterday.
Amazing.
And I mean, it's a listed company. They're part of Naspers. They chose us to come and train their greenies.
Bobby, it's amazing.
And the one guy asked me such a kick-ass question. He said, Bobs, your story is like immigrant child, all this other stuff. When did you start having self-belief? I'm like, let me tell you when. I started, the guy that sold his business, started following him and interacting with him, and he's almost a billionaire in US now.
Sure.
Almost. He's very close. He could be in the next couple of months. And when he invited me to his house, I went to his house in Fort Lauderdale. He stays in a $500 million house. Okay, that's where he goes to sleep. His neighbor, by the way, is Leo Messi. I don't know if you watch football. Lionel Messi, the number one.
Yeah, I love him.
That's his neighbor. That's his neighbor. Yeah. So Leo stays next to Patrick.
Amazing. Bobby.
And when I walked in the house, I'm like, I've got a pretty nice house. Like my house is kick-ass. It's nothing like this dude's house.
Yes.
And he's like sitting like here, having lunch, and I'm giving him a high five, and I said, Mr. Patrick, if I were to cut you open here, what color would you bleed? He said, same as you, brother, red. And he says, you know what else? If we were to walk outside, because the streets there are water canals. So, big as yachts ride up and down, $300 million yachts ride up and down there. He says, and if both me and you walked outside here and tried to walk on water, guess what? We both can't. We're all human. We're all going to die. Like, beautiful attitude. $500 million house, still bleeds red, still has to eat food, still has to breathe and drink water and can't walk on water, and we're both going to die. Salute. Self-belief.
Come on. And I think that's the main thing. I think without that, and without enough humility to actually admit it, you'll never be successful for long term. I think that's unfortunately I think your story around where you started and why your success is real is where the trust fund babies is exactly the opposite. It's because if you don't go through that hard times and actually picking yourself up and have the humility to understand that it was a multitude of factors that actually brought you to this point, and a very small of it was actually your doing, then you become powerful because you understand how nature and how the world is set to give everyone an equal opportunity at the end of the day.
Beautiful. Love it. There's no better way to close it than that.
Come on.
Really appreciate you. If you guys are in any sort of business environment or thinking about it, all the links will be at the bottom. And it's an honor to have spent the last hour with you. Thank you so much. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Come on.